In the end, he accepted and together they headed to the next village. A few hours later, at the queen's palace, it was explained that in the village, the inhabitants reported that the village leader's daughter behaved very badly towards a human, even ordering his capture. This greatly angered the queen, as they were supposed to treat him well without disturbing him. However, she became even angrier when it was explained that the human was Earth, who had to flee from that place. On the other hand, after traveling all night, Earth, along with the bear, managed to reach the next village, where many fairies were playing musical instruments. This was very delightful for Earth, who was very tired and wanted to sleep. However, the bear took him to a very nice inn. In this place, the owner welcomed them because of many good recommendations about Earth, and also because he arrived with one of the most famous fairies in the area. Earth was surprised to hear that he was being helped by a powerful fairy and decided to rest for a few days in this place. When he returned to the game, Earth planned to explore the city, but he realized he couldn't get out of bed because the queen was hugging him tightly. This scared him a lot because he didn't expect the queen to go that far. At that moment, the innkeeper entered and offered to bring breakfast, but seeing that he had a guest, she planned to leave him alone. However, Earth asked for help because he couldn't get the queen to leave. At that moment, Devil also entered his room, but upon seeing the fairy, they realized it was the queen and did not understand what was happening. She explained that this was not something strange, but she came to apologize for the behavior of another girl and also because Earth had to flee from another village. At that moment, Rio, who was very angry, also arrived seeing his sister so close to Earth. However, the queen explained that she had already punished the village leader along with his daughter and some soldiers who followed him. In this way, she ensured that no one would disobey her orders again, which somewhat frightened Earth and everyone else. At that time, Ryu decided to take his sister away from that place because he was watching over her, telling Earth that it was extraordinary to have a dragon in this place. After all, years ago, fairies had a big war with dragons and therefore, they usually didn't get along. However, he also said he wouldn't say anything because if rumors spread that there was a dragon in the village, it could cause chaos. After that, Earth talked to Zan when a fairy knocked on the door. She explained that she was looking for the bear because her daughter was missing and needed help finding her. Earth was interested in hearing this and asked her to explain what happened. The fairy said that her daughter always went out for walks at a certain time, but now she hadn't returned home and she was very worried. So she decided to come to Zan because he was known as the best fairy in the area. At that moment, the bear realized that the fairy came from a noble family and was ready to pay them well, so he accepted this mission and Earth said he would also help. After that, the two of them went out to look for the fairy. After some time, they got information and walked through the forest. At that moment, Earth sensed 3 monsters' presence and together with Zan, they defeated them without any problems. Even so, Earth couldn't help but admire his companion's strength. So he decided to use his ability to detect evil presences, and although it required more resources, he increased its range, detecting a group of monsters near this place along with 2 presences that weren't monsters. Therefore, they decided to quickly go to that location. At that moment, Earth used his long-range vision and saw that the fairy was surrounded by goblins. So he told Zan that they should help her, asking him to reach the fairy and use the potion given, while Earth promised to protect him from a distance. Devil agreed and quickly ran towards the girl. Earth took down some goblins with his arrows and Devil quickly healed the fairy. Then, the 3 of them managed to finish off the remaining goblins. At that moment, Earth reached them and the fairy thanked them for everything. Devil explained that they came because her mother asked and they introduced themselves. The fairy was very happy because she recognized Zan and Earth, asking why he hadn't transformed into his wolf form because that way they could fight more easily. The girl explained that she was walking when she smelled a very sweet scent, which made her fall asleep, and when she woke up, she was surrounded by many goblins. However, she also realized that she couldn't transform at that moment. Earth took out another potion and asked her to use it. After that, the girl tried to transform, and this time she succeeded. Then, he asked the girl to return to the village with Devil while he said he would stay for a while to rest and would follow them later. Devil and the girl didn't mind, so they left the place. However, at that moment, Earth approached the bushes and demanded that the person hiding come out quickly because he knew that person was the one who had poisoned the girl so she couldn't transform. Those goblins were not normal because they had armor and even used battle formations, something monsters don't do on their own, but it must have been a human. Earth quickly threw an explosive potion and from the bushes came a man. Earth quickly noticed the man and realized that he was not an ordinary player. Although he also looked like a human and knew that if the fairies knew that a human did this, it could cause a war between the 2 races. The good relationship he had with them made the very angry man say that he wouldn't let this be told to anyone, but at that moment, our protagonist disappeared in front of his eyes. Then, from behind the man, he kicked him, throwing him to the ground. He also said that he didn't care about any race, what he wanted was for all races to live in harmony. Therefore, he said that he didn't mind if he had to fight any race. He said that he wouldn't show mercy even to fellow humans. After some time, our protagonist met with Devil in the forest and the girl was also there. Then, they decided to return to their inn where the mother met her daughter and thanked them for their help. The mother offered a lot of money as a reward, but our protagonist asked for another favor, which was to allow the girl to be closer to Zan because they seemed to be very close. This was a bit embarrassing for the girl, but eventually she accepted. After that, our main character stays alone in his room and decides to call Queen and tell her everything that happened, including his encounter with the human. Queen is worried that something like this could cause many problems, but she thanks our main character for handling the issue before it got worse. Our main character then decides to rest for the entire day. The next day, after waking up, he bids farewell to the manager of the place and also to Devil, who is now closer to the fairy girl and plans to visit her home. Our main character leaves the place, wondering how he will travel as he is still far from his hometown. He then thinks of trying to summon the bird that brought him initially, even though the manager said it wouldn't work as the bird only obeys the royal family. However, to their surprise, the bird appears, and our main character happily rides it back to his city. After a long journey, our main character asks to be dropped off on the outskirts of the city and, in return, prepares some dishes for the bird. The bird enjoys all the food and gives him some feathers that enhance speed and reduce the use of magic power thanks to the wind's blessing. Our main character is very grateful for the help and returns to his city, where he visits his trusted blacksmith because he needs to repair and upgrade his bow to make it stronger. After some time, he manages to create a lighter metal bow, which he hopes will be more durable and provide more power. He then decides to go to the battlefield to test it out, but while walking, he receives a message from the Labyrinth Guardian. The Guardian thanks him for participating in freeing the trapped souls in that place and for defeating the boss, which allowed the souls to be freed. Thanks to this, everything became sacred again, and our main character realizes that others also defeated their bosses and completed their tasks. The Labyrinth Guardian then offers our main character a chance to participate in a tournament for a great prize among those who fought against the bosses, but our main character quickly declines the offer. At that moment, while talking to him, he hears cries from the forest. This makes him very curious, so he decides to see what's happening. Upon arrival, he finds a baby dragon that has just hatched from its shell. Moreover, the NPCs in that place disappear, and our main character doesn't know why. Nevertheless, he takes the baby dragon, thinking that bringing it to the city isn't a good idea as it would attract too much attention. But he also knows he can't take it to the fairy kingdom because they explain they don't get along with dragons. So, he decides to feed the baby dragon, and, knowing its food supply would be limited, he goes hunting to get more food for them. After some time, our main character manages to hunt a few monsters and gives the meat to the baby dragon. All this while preparing other food, but the baby quickly asks for more and our main character ends up giving more than he expected. However, the baby dragon finally falls into a deep sleep and our main character takes the opportunity to call the queen and explain what happened and how he found the baby dragon. Queen, hearing all this, is shocked and explains that if what he says is true, someone must have kidnapped the baby dragon. She also says that the biggest problem is that the baby dragon is a red dragon, part of the most powerful family among wild dragons. She explains that red dragons are very different from regular dragons who choose to control their powers and can shapeshift at will, like her sister, who tries to live normally alongside other races. However, red dragons refuse to temper their powers and live apart from other kingdoms. Therefore, she says that angering them could cause widespread destruction. At that moment, a fairy comes and tells the queen that two superior red dragons are heading their way. This terrifies them, but our main character, along with the queen, decides to wait and try to talk to them to calm their anger. After a few minutes, the dragons arrive in front of our main character, who is shocked by their immense power. The furious dragons accuse him of kidnapping their daughter, but the queen tries to speak to them and is rejected because they want to hear from the human. Our main character tries to explain that someone else kidnapped the baby dragon, but the dragons don't believe his words. Nevertheless, he says it's fine to return their daughter and asks them to trust what he says. The dragons quickly tell Earth to return their child, and he does so without any issues. They realize he is honest because, upon touching their child, they can see the protagonist's memories. This impresses them because the human cared for and fed their child. Thus, they apologize for doubting and blaming him. As an apology, they tell Earth he can ask for anything he wants. Earth replies that he only wants the fairies not to be blamed for what happened and for the dragons to pretend they don't know them. Recognition from the dragons would make him more famous, which he doesn't want. The dragons accept this request and decide to return to their kingdom immediately. The fairy queen is also very grateful to Earth for considering her city and avoiding an interracial conflict. He replies that the last thing he wants is conflict in this world. Queen suggests they go to her palace to thank him, but Earth replies that he prefers to visit other villages in his kingdom because he wants to continue working as a regular adventurer. Queen agrees and calls her bird to take him to all the villages. However, before leaving, Earth asks the Queen not to tell anyone about what happened, which she agrees to because she knows Earth doesn't want to attract attention. After that, Earth arrives at the eastern village and goes to the inn to look for work but is disappointed because there are no missions available. The innkeeper explains that many adventurers have come and completed all the missions. However, the innkeeper offers a job at the bar to earn some money, which Earth accepts. He works for a few hours serving customers and washing dishes, finally receiving his wages. Earth decides to rest for the entire day. He feels happy because he saved a dragon in the morning and now works in a regular restaurant. Meanwhile, the game developers are pleased to see everything going well and are impressed by the progress of characters like Fairy Queen, who shows a lot of emotion, and the dragons, who show unscripted behavior. They know this is because of that player. One of the developers explains that he is also in the game and sees how impressive Earth is. They plan together what could be added to the game to keep it evolving and make the characters smarter every day. The next day, Earth decided to relax because it had been a long time since he had done so. He was always busy and well known for various reasons. He enjoyed being surrounded by people who helped him and felt proud of being very good at this game, something he couldn't enjoy in real life. After resting, Earth was summoned to the Queen's castle. This surprised him, especially when he saw there was someone else with Queen, a wild green dragon. Earth was surprised because wild dragons usually did not associate with anyone. However, the dragon explained that green dragons are neutral and the only wild dragon race that can shapeshift into humans. They serve as mediators between races. Earth understood their race but didn't know why he was summoned. The dragon explained that since the red dragons returned with their child, the child had barely eaten. This was very concerning because the child needed to become very strong but wasn't eating enough. The child also wanted to be taught how to transform into a human. Therefore, they sent the green dragon to seek information from Earth. Earth replied that he didn't know why the dragon child wasn't eating because when with him, the child ate a lot. Queen said it might be because of his delicious food. The mediator dragon didn't understand what she meant, so Earth decided to cook the same food for the dragon child. This impressed the dragon. The dragon requested more food to take home. Earth said he needed many ingredients, which the red dragon quickly procured. After some time, Earth cooked various dishes to take to the red dragon, who was very grateful. Earth declined the Queen's offer to rest at the castle and left immediately, thinking that his food had made a wild dragon seek help from another race. The green dragon gave the food to the dragon child, who ate it happily, surprising the parents. The green dragon explained that the food was cooked by a human who could make ordinary food taste extremely delicious. The child's parents were shocked because they didn't know this was possible. A few days later, the green dragon kept trying to replicate Earth's dishes, but they didn't taste the same. He thought about asking for the humans' help but doubted that their leader would allow asking a human for help. The next day, Earth went out for a walk despite not being used to being very well known in this kingdom. At that time, an old man called out to ask if he was the old man was sure Earth was too wild because of his aura, but he didn't want to know more about them if he left quickly. Although later he met Queen and the old man again, they told him they needed to talk to him, but Earth refused, saying he was tired of being sought out only to fulfill their wishes. Therefore, he decided to jump with his magic to a distant rooftop and find an inn where he could stay, so he could leave the game and not be disturbed again. Then he ran quickly, managed to reach, and got a room. He entered the place and without listening to Queen, he immediately left the game as quickly as possible. After that, when re-entering the game, Earth apologized to the administrator for what happened last time. The child, very frightened, asked what he had done because Queen had announced that they were looking for him everywhere. Queen had also announced that they could capture him. Hearing this, Earth was very angry seeing what the Queen had done and decided to go to the castle. Upon arrival, he broke down the entrance because he was so angry at what Queen had done, treating him like a criminal. Moreover, he told the old dragon that he didn't care who he was because he wouldn't do anything for them anymore, let alone cook food. The dragon was offended hearing this and replied that he should respect the ancestral dragon more. However, Earth ignored what he said because he was too angry and even challenged him to a fight to prove that humans were not as weak as they thought and didn't have to obey dragon orders. This made the old dragon very angry, who then accepted the challenge. They both went out to start the duel. Earth was very angry because the dragons did not keep their promises. He had taken care of their daughter but also asked them not to pretend as if nothing had happened, as he didn't want to attract attention. However, now more wild dragons were searching for him because of what had happened. He started the attack with arrows that didn't injure the dragon. The dragon retaliated and Earth narrowly avoided it. He tried to attack with several more arrows, but none succeeded because the dragon had impenetrable scales. After that, the dragon hit Earth, who almost managed to protect himself with his shield, though he felt a lot of pain. The dragon was amazed that Earth was still alive, even though his shield was gone at that moment. After that, the dragon launched a fire attack, which Earth used to throw his explosive potion before the fire hit. Then, Earth knew he had to use the technique given by the queen, so he activated the 7-star ability that struck the dragon, and then an evil force pierced the dragon completely. After the explosion, the dragon got up again more angrily and created a windstorm. Earth managed to get out thanks to his push and used camouflage to hide, as he still felt a bit of pain. However, he knew he had to sacrifice his bow to defeat the dragon. He immediately came out of camouflage and chanted the sacrificial bow spell. While chanting the spell, his power began to gather and made the dragon very scared because he knew it was a very powerful technique. After that, Earth completed the spell and a giant arrow shot toward the dragon, who managed to protect himself briefly with his wind shield. However, Earth put all his health into the spell, and the magic power in the attack pierced the dragon's chest. Therefore, the dragon fell to the ground, although still alive. Earth knew he couldn't do much more because he had no weapons or magical power, but seeing the dragon still had a little life left, he decided to sacrifice himself to show that humans could also defeat dragons. Quickly, he took more explosive potions and threw them at the dragon, eliminating both of them. On the other hand, the game developers watched in awe how Earth was even willing to sacrifice his life to defeat the dragon. However, they knew it was one of the weakest dragons because of its age, but they also did not plan to do much more if they wanted to see what Earth could do. Earth was in spectator mode while waiting to return to his last respawn point. However, at that moment, he saw several dragons coming and thought they wanted to revive their companion. Instead, they quickly revived Earth. He asked why they did all this. The red dragon quickly apologized to him because the old dragon was too arrogant and had treated all their races badly, even threatening Fairy Queen by saying that if they did not capture Earth, all human and fairy cities would be destroyed. Hearing this, Earth understood that this was the reason the queen made all the announcements. However, he knew that he had eliminated one of their kind, but the red dragon replied that it didn't matter because they had come to do the same, only to find that Earth had managed to defeat it first. Therefore, the red dragon decided to reward him by sending his daughter. Earth accepted this gift, which included a large sum of money and armor made from dragon scales that were not too heavy and fit perfectly. He also received a bow, although Earth could not see its stats at the time. The dragon explained that this bow belonged to the only fairy who earned their respect, and although he couldn't use it, he hoped that one day, someone worthy would be able to use it as that fairy did. After that, the dragons bid farewell and promised not to bother him again. Earth felt very happy, feeling tired after using the technique he had employed. He decided to summon a bird to take him back to the city where he had acquired the fairy cloak. Then, he went to the queen's palace, where he was informed that the queen was very ill after everything he had said to her. Our hero then spoke to her and explained that the red dragon had already told him everything that had happened, so he didn't blame her for what she had done because she was acting as a queen and had to protect her kingdom. However, he also said that he wanted to ask the queen to seal the power of the ring because he felt he had become too reliant on its power and stood out more than he wanted to, something he felt was not good because his intention from the beginning was to not stand out. However, little by little, he realized that he had become too powerful and wanted to continue enjoying the small things he could get. The queen accepted his request without any issues and hoped they could meet again someday. Our hero promised that it would happen and left the palace with the intention of returning to enjoy a simple life without recognition from anyone. That is the end of this anime.